All right, good evening, West Texans, and all you good, fine, friendly folks out there who wish you were. I'm Ryan Hyatt, TheRaiderland.com. You start your day every morning checking out our question of the day. Today it's overrated, underrated, rated right Wednesday. We give you three topics. You sound off on it. I'll give you the topics here again here in a minute. But you go there at TheRaiderland.com. You check out everything. You share it with your friends. You comment. And then you jump in here today and you've probably been following us on Twitter at Ryan Hyatt Media, and that's cool. So tonight, Tech Legends Week continues on. We're going to get your favorite, all-time favorite defensive backs, wide receivers, DBs, and wide receivers tonight. I take Brian Dubisky off the board. I take Bruce Perkins, the pride of Coronado, off the board. You can't have those; they're mine. Now, if you're on YouTube watching tonight, and we're glad you are, if you are on Twitter watching tonight at Ryan Hyatt Media. If you're on Facebook, Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland on Facebook, we're glad you're here because United Supermarkets and Market Street, they get the transaction taken care of for you. They sponsor all the communication we do. Why? Because they love Red Raiders. They want you to talk about Texas Tech. There's one supermarket chain in West Texas that supports Texas Tech. There's one that when you go shop with them, they send your money downstate to Austin and the SEC. Indeed, Damon, the talking box is on. Wednesdays are kind of Red River Wednesdays around here, brought to you by Lifts West Hotel and Condominium in the middle of Red River. So if you're looking to be in the middle of things in ski season or the summer, you're looking for Lifts West, my man Billy. Also, when you go to Red River, I want you to just go up the street just a little bit from Lifts West to Yesterday's Diner. Breakfast, fantastic, unbelievable. Lunch, fantastic and great. And during the busy season, they try to stay open and do you a little dinner service, a little supper service as well. But listen, you go there for the first time, get the breakfast enchiladas. Okay, when you go to Yesterday's Diner, you get the breakfast enchiladas. You will be very glad after breakfast that you are going to walk down the street, not up, but walk down the street back to wherever you are going. And you will want to walk for a few minutes. Dee and her crew are amazing. It is like one of my go to when I go to Red River. I've got places I go to every single time. I will make it happen if they're open. And yesterday's is absolutely it for breakfast. If I don't get to eat there, it's been a wasted trip. The talking box is on, says Damon. YouTube is working, says Chris. And off we go. Also brought to you in part by Boot City One Money, 7 Mile outside the West Loop. Look, Western Wear, boot sale going on right now. Boot City, boot sale in Lubbock, Texas. Tell Cody we said, hey, go get some boots. All right, let's get it going in three, in two. Good evening, West Texans, all you good, fine, friendly folks out there who wish you were. I'm Ryan Hyatt, TheRaiderland.com. Glad you're with us here on the daily broadcast, coming from the Arctic Air Studios, where the air is Arctic here. Is it Arctic where you are? If not, you need to call the bear, callthebear.com. Also, if you are looking for a career in the HVAC industry, if you got a little bit of experience, you're looking for a job, holy cow, you need to get a hold of those people because right now in West Texas, you are highly sought after, you are highly coveted, and they will pay top dollar if you're good. If you're good, and if you know somebody out there who's in that industry and looking for a job, you tell them to call the bear and callthebear.com. This week we're talking position groups each day. Today, wide receivers and defensive backs. Your favorite wide receivers and defensive backs, all-time Texas Tech. We're not saying best, we're saying favorite. Also, we have overrated, underrated, and rated right Wednesday that we do on the website. We give you three topics. Here are the topics today. Overrated, underrated, or rated right. Talking politics with your friends. Do you guys talk politics with your friends? I do. And then they want to shoot me, some of them. Overrated, underrated, rated right. Flavored Dr. Pepper drinks, from vanilla to strawberries and cream to coconut and whatever. What do you got for me on the flavored Dr. Pepper? We love Dr. Pepper. Cut my teeth on Dr. Pepper. Before I went to Diet Coke, uh, Dr. Pepper was the constant there at Texas Tech. And finally, overrated, underrated, rated right. Pro tennis these days. I grew up in a great era, 1970s, 1980s, into the 90s. Professional tennis, men's tennis was great. Women's tennis was fantastic. Today, I hardly recognize the game. So I would say, if not overrated, it's just crap. So what do you think? Am I wrong? If I had Tim Siegel on here tonight, and I need to sit down with him and do a podcast fairly soon. But I think pro tennis is at its worst level, entertainment wise and otherwise, than it's been in 30 years. What do you say? You tell me. So we have all that plus Big 12 Media Days. Deion Sanders was talking, we were listening, and he was praising Joey McGuire today. Loves him some Joey McGuire. And he had some other things. But Brett Yormark, we missed one comment yesterday that came out, and it's just it exhibits the cutthroat nature of the Big 12 today, and why the Big 12 is still alive. The Big 12 still exists because of Brett Yormark, and he is cutthroat. It had to do what he did to get Colorado into the Big 12. We'll talk about that before we get out of here. All right, I want to get you guys in. Chris, Damon, Craig, everybody out there, all the people on YouTube and otherwise. Let's go. Your favorite wide receivers, your favorite defensive backs, all-time Texas Tech. I told you Brian Dubisky, late 80s, early 90s, great hurdler. State, I don't think he won state. I think he finished third. If you can run hurdles, you can be a great defensive back. He was on the 89 team, 90, 91. I'm trying to think if he was a year ahead of me or we were even. I lose track of when he graduated. But he was on that great 89 team. Defensive back. Had great hair. Fantastic hair. Moose game, elegant. Product game, elegant. 100% Brian Dubisky. And then Bruce Perkins, Diary of a Walk-On, 1984, Coronado High School. So one of the great defensive backs all time was Kenneth Wallace, an All-American in the early mid-'70s at Texas Tech. Played briefly in the NFL, I believe, for the Dolphins. He was my high school coach at Coronado. He coached Bruce Perkins. And he threw the ball about 7 times a game. If you had quarterbacks like me, you can understand why. So Bruce Perkins, great 100-meter runner, district champ, long jump, state, 23 foot. Bruce, what did you do? And in 1984, the AJ, Norval Pollard, created Diary of a Walk-On, and it charted Bruce, who starts as a walk-on, shouldn't have, he's a freaking great receiver, earns a scholarship after returning a punt for a touchdown at A&M, and it was a really cool deal. So I got Bruce Perkins, I got Brian Dubisky. Those are mine. Favorite wide receivers, favorite defensive backs, Tech Legends Week. Let's go. Let's start it. Whatever you want to do. And again, all the communications brought to you by United Supermarkets and Market Street. Chris, Rodney Blackshear, Eric Ward, and Crabtree. Yeah, those are 3 good ones. Not bad, pretty decent. And I'm saying favorite. So you guys can branch out a little bit because, if we want to do stats and we want to do awards, yeah, Crabtree. I ain't got nothing against Crabtree, okay? That's not the deal. I want to open up a little bit your favorite guys over the years. That we go back beyond 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. We can go back a little bit, right? We can have some fun. Craig, wide receiver. Tyrone Thurman, Wes Welker, Wayne Walker. We have the Smurfs getting in with Craig in the late 80s. They had a great Heisman Trophy campaign with a schedule poster and everything with those players on it in 88, I think. And it had the great quote by Spike Dykes, which said, regarding Tyrone Thurman, he's not even big enough to cross the street by himself. Defensive backs, Tracy Salt. Got him right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, Tracy Salt, Prada Vidaloo, Ryan Aycock, and Dorian Pitts. Wow, Dorian Pitts getting a reference now. That's cool. Wasn't expecting that. That's why I like doing this. Your favorite ones. So yeah, you got the Smurfs right there, which for you younger guys, that was the nickname for the wide receivers that Billy Joe Tolliver was throwing to in 86, 87, 88. And to a lesser extent, 89. I don't think maybe Wayne Walker is there. Wes Welker was not a Smurf, obviously. Chris, Dwayne Slay saw Cody Davis. Cody Davis made him a hand in the NFL. He was one of those guys, I liken him to a baseball player who hits 283, 287 everywhere he goes. He hit 287 in college. Yeah, well, all right, we'll sign him. I don't think he can play. 287 in long A baseball. 287 in double. All right, 287 triple. 287. All of a sudden, you got a career. That's Cody Davis. Tracy Saul. He got a lot of great play his first year because of Brian Dubisky, and then Dwayne Slay had the big hit on Alan Everidge in 2005. Obviously, I love me some Dwayne Slay. He could bring it. He ran downhill. He had what we call downhill eyes. 100% run eyes, downhill eyes. People forget how many times he got burned on play action, including against Texas. But I do love me some Dwayne Slay, but I would not have him on my top 10. Sorry. But he was fun to watch play. He played hard. He gave it everything he had, but he made critical mistakes at critical times on run action, and it hurt Texas Tech at different times. Top 10 what? What do you want? What do you want, David? What do you want? What do you want, David? Ben jumping. Big hitters have eyes in the backfield. Absolutely. Got eyes in the backfield, and ain't got eyes on the two deep middle and what I'm going to throw over you after I run that run action, play action. Now, linebackers are different. Linebackers get to have run eyes, particularly if you're running a 4-4 back in the day. Now, if you're running a 4-4, which Texas Tech, I believe, up until maybe 91, was in a 4-4 look. Dwayne Giles, defensive end, 2-7, what we call a 2-tech and a 7-tech. And then you would run a 4-4 with a middle, strong middle, weak Sam. It was pretty much what we were all doing in the 80s. Now, if you were a linebacker in a pure 4-4 in, say, 1988, 89, 90, it was a beautiful, beautiful time to be a linebacker. You had your through keys, through eyes, where we're going to go through the center into the backfield. We're going to watch the fullback. We're also going to watch the guard. We're going to watch the guard. We got to watch the guard because the guard's going to chip. Center might chip. Since we're in a 4, we don't have a 0-tech. So the center is going to chip, maybe cheat a little bit. We're going to watch that guard, give away a little bit. Now we're going to look through the guard. And we're going to look at that fullback. Fullback's not going to lie for the most part, unless we're doing a counter, like we're doing a 44 cross or something like that. Fun time to be a linebacker. Chris goes Kevin Curtis, great defensive back. Your favorite defensive backs, your favorite wide receivers all time, Texas Tech. Fun to talk about it. I'm still waiting on Collier. Where the hell are you, Collier? You were in Las Vegas yesterday. David Collier, obviously not on set, obviously not doing TV duties. Where the hell are you? Yeah, Tech had a Raider back, and that's really an outside linebacker. It's a safety. You can call it spur, you can call it Raider back, you can call it anything. So that's a DB that's going to come up. What we're talking when we talk about a Raider back or something like that, you're looking at a nickel back or a dime patch, and you're walking somebody up who typically would not be a linebacker. Uh, and there's a lot of different ways to do it. So yeah, you had the Raider back. I can't remember the kid's name that played that in the '90s for Spike. Lubbock. Welcome back to Lubbock. Didn't Kevin Curtis have a very short coaching stint at Tech, or was that Coleman? No, Curtis was at Texas Tech. Yeah. Now Marcus Coleman. Holy crap, Marcus Coleman. We got to talk about Marcus Coleman for a little bit here. And obviously, as a defensive back and doing what he did, he might have been the best athlete Texas Tech post Donnie Anderson in that 25-year period from, like, say, 1970, 25 years, whatever you want to do. Great track athlete. He could do anything he wanted. You want to block field goals? Freaking Marcus Coleman was as athletic as anybody I've seen in a Tech uniform in the last, how are we going back now, 30, 35 years? I'm glad you brought that up. Merv Spurlock, Mike Smith, and wide receiver Donnie Hart and Lyle Leong. All right, so we got Merv Spurlock. We're going back in the 80s and the Hammerheads a little bit. Mike Smith, well, he's a linebacker, but that's okay. And then Donnie Hart was in bounds. Donnie Hart, tough. Donnie Hart, faster than you thought he was. Donnie Hart, fantastic receiver. Threw around electric Leland around like a rag doll, going back to some Aggie stuff there. Thank you for bringing up Merv Spurlock. We could bring up the 1984 85 secondary for Texas Tech. Kenny King, the Hammerheads. The Hammerheads were later. That was that was Brian Gerlich in that bunch. Crap. If you're still watching Kirkpatrick, you know what I'm talking about. We can go back to the 84, 85 secondary. Lemuel Stinson, Kenny King. They were the number one rated secondary in, I think, 1984 in pass yards given up. Carlos Maynard, a moderately middle-aged Carlos Maynard, the head coach on that, and they were fantastic. The Tech defense in 84, 85, no problems. You just couldn't freaking score. Couldn't do anything. Thank you, though, for getting Spurlock out there. Ted Watts played with a broken jaw in 1980. They put a cast on his face mask. I think his number was 21. And in 1980, he plays with a freaking cast on his face mask, jaw wired shut. He ends up getting drafted by the Oakland Raiders and was a badass. Need to do punters. I don't think I ever need to do punters. We put him out there. Dave Parks, great receiver. He was every bit the defensive back at the time when you were playing two platoon football in the early 60s. Brought back a touchdown pass or intercepted a pass and brought it back 100 yards against Colorado. Donnie Anderson, had he not made it as a running back in the NFL or a punter in the NFL, highly disregarded as a great punter, could have been Super Bowl II MVP if you could give it to a punter. Go back and look at the numbers in Super Bowl II, the Raiders and the Packers. Look what he did. It's a low-scoring game. 100% low-scoring game. Anderson was a great defensive back. Tracy Saul, we can throw him in there. We talked about him. And then, of course, Elmer Tarbox, the original, the great, the first really great Texas Tech football hero, national and otherwise. and that he had interception records that held up until and to this day still stand in some aspects. Tells you all you need to know. And he was just bad at it. If you guys don't know who Elmer Tarbox is, just Google up everything he did in his life. All right? Not just football, everything he did in his life. Unbelievable. Who am I leaving out here? Oh, yeah. Golly. Somebody will put a hit on me if I don't mention him. Curtis Jordan. Great hair. Beautiful hair. Beautiful flowing locks of hair. The pride of Monterey. And fantastic defensive back. And he was punished for all of that by going to the original Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the mid 70s and being part of maybe the last worst great worst team ever in the history of the NFL. He suffered through that for at least 3 or 4 seasons and then was rescued off the scrap heap by the Washington Redskins and Joe Gibbs, and becomes a part of the early 80s, mid 80s Washington Redskins teams that win Super Bowls. And he played a big role in it. Now, he was beat up at the time. He really was. By the time he gets to Washington, he's used up, he's beat up, but he made it happen. And that was, I think, like God just looking at going, you were what? You were with Tampa Bay in 76 and 77, and all right, here you go. You got to go out and hang out with John Riggins. And they did. Unbelievable stories. You guys wouldn't believe it. Most folks wouldn't believe it. All right. The top wide receivers, favorite wide receivers, defensive backs all time, Texas Tech, your favorite ones. We've got over, under, and rated right. Talking politics with your friends. Overrated, underrated, rated right. Flavored Dr. Pepper. Rated right. Underrated, overrated. You tell me. And then pro tennis. We talk tennis. See, I try to be very, welcoming to everybody else. We got a few more minutes left. I do want to get into the Dr. Pepper thing. Hey, I found some Dr. Pepper stuff. My wife brought in the strawberries and cream Dr. Pepper. Not bad. There's a coconut one. Pretty good. Not bad. But I do want to tell you right now that if you like Big Red, and I'm not a huge Big Red guy, but the Big Red Zero, go get some right now. Anything with Dr. Pepper is amazing, says Danny. Randy, who you have between Colombia and Uruguay? I like to see Argentina and Colombia in the final. Does Pablo Escobar's family still off players that don't perform? I would agree with what you're saying right there. I think they still have the ability to kill anybody off. If you have an own goal and certainly create an own goal or a situation like that, you're going to disappear. Beyond that, after that, I would look at that and say, I really don't give a flying, rolling donut who wins that. Don't care. Don't give it. And am disappointed that you would bring that to my show. Don't really care. Don't care at all. Anything Dr. Pepper is amazing. I would agree. Big Red Zero. Zero sugar. Big Red Zero. Get it. Try it out. It's really good. Ben goes, Ted Watts. Absolutely. I hope you got to know him or meet him. Holy crap. Sammy Walker. Oscar Solis was a tough guy out of Slayton. Tyron Lloyd Hill, yeah, we love that. Blackshear and Crabtree. And that Blackshear hadn't actually weighed in on his own. I'm going to go back to Sammy Walker for a second. This is good. All right, me and Sammy are in the dorm together, and his sister Tammy is playing for the Lady Raiders when I'm first breaking in, doing a lot of Lady Raider basketball. So I kind of got to know Sammy. Sammy Walker was the greatest one-eyed freak to ever play defensive back. Literally had one eye. He had vision in one eye. So when he's like 11 or 12, he has helped his dad doing fencing or something. And a piece of fence breaks off, and the wood splinters and blinds him, shoots into his eye. No shit. And he's blind. So you've got a blind cornerback. Unbelievable talent. Sammy Walker. Thank you, Ben, for bringing up Sammy Walker. So you got a blind cornerback. So he could only play. I'm going to mess this up. I think it was the right hand side that he had. He had outside vision that he could look in, but that he really couldn't see. He ends up playing for the Dolphins. Now, Sammy was also just a good dude. And I'm going to tell a story. No, I'm not. I'm not going to tell it tonight. And it ties into NIL and players getting stuff and everything else. And back in the day on Sunday nights, when the dining hall wasn't open there at the Wiggins complex, and I was living in Coleman, and Sammy was, I guess, in Weymouth. Yeah, he was in Weymouth. And, you know, the dining hall wasn't open, and nobody had any money. And I will tell that story sometime here in the next couple of days. And he and a couple of other football players at the time taught me how to get free pizza in Tech Terrace. Mm. Lloyd Hill was just a badass. He was just really good. You know, watched him run a 4.27 at Pro Day. Unbelievable. He was an unbelievable great guy. Um, really nice to me. I think he kind of not took pity on me, but you know, he's like, you know, all right, you're doing Lady Raider basketball stuff and whatever. And we were just kind of, he was just cool, just a good dude. But I don't know anybody else who's ever played high level cornerback. He was blind. He played I think for the Dolphins and for Green Bay. I think he actually had a time in Green Bay for a little while. He couldn't see out of an eye. No. I got about 4 more minutes left with you people tonight. Uh, Anything from Vegas on the Big 12 Media Days? Let's see. Deion Sanders today went off talking great about Joey McGuire, so that's good. Yesterday, and we'll talk about this maybe more tomorrow. Brett Yormark is a stone cold killer. He's a boss, as Deion called him, and they talked about how they basically bought off Colorado by giving them $2.5 million signing bonus money to come to the Big 12. Now, why is that interesting? Well, that created chaos in the Pac 12. That the first team to jump was going to get that money, allegedly. And the first team that jumped was Colorado. And they gave them $2.5 million just to, hey, come to the Big 12. Utah didn't get it. Arizona State, you didn't get it. But Colorado, you got $2.5 million just for saying yes. That's the kind of commissioner you have right now, and that's the kind of commissioner you need if you want to remain viable in the next 5 to 10 years in professional sports. Notice I didn't say college. It's pro sports now. It's involving colleges, but it's pro sports, 100%. Abso-freaking-lutely. $2.5 million just to come in. Love it. Yormark. I want to do a show about who his wife's dad would be, the father-in-law. I gotta be real careful. If you want to do some research around New York City, yeah, I wouldn't mess with him. I wouldn't mess with him at all. All right, we did what we could. It was enjoyable, I hope, for everybody. Tomorrow, Thursday, maybe the week the day we take the week off, or the day we take the day off during the week. This time it's summer. Now I know what have we not done? Somebody said punters. Anthony Mayweather was a bad man. Love him to death. 3rd and 26. Who you dialing up? Anthony Mayweather, baby. We may take tomorrow off, maybe. But we still got to do quarterbacks. And somebody was whining about not doing punters. Who was that? Maury Buford? You getting in here, Maury? What are you doing, Maury? So maybe tomorrow is special teams, if you guys behave. And then maybe Friday we'll just do quarterbacks only. Mark Bounds, first team All-American punter, wore lime green, what do you call those? Strings, shoelaces. Yeah. Where'd he start? WT. Freaky weird dude, by the way. Nuts. But we love him. Absolutely. If as a school you have too many great punters in your history, you're not doing well. Yeah, don't tell I said that. All right, Ben, thanks for jumping in. Appreciate. Got to hit the end stream. We're going to post this at theraiderland.com. All we ask is that you guys share this on Facebook, YouTube, wherever we are, wherever you are, and that would be awesome to grow what we do. Now, we'll share it on Twitter and everything else. Then we'll be back with you in the morning, Thursday, either or Thursday, at theraiderland.com. You guys are fantastic. See you tomorrow.